Yo, buckle up, because you're about to witness an explosive story that'll leave your jaw on the floor. This is a tale of raw courage, epic justice, and a teacher who flips the script on some vile bullies in a way you'll never forget. If you love heart-pounding drama and standing up to wrong, hit that subscribe button right now. And yo, if you love your mom and dad seriously, who doesn't? Smash that subscribe button to show them some love. Let's dive into this insane story. The late August sun scorched the sprawling campus of Jefferson High, a red brick fortress. In the heart of Willow Creek, a mid-sized American town where old traditions and new tensions simmered beneath the surface. The hallways buzzed with the frenetic energy of a new school year. Sneakers squeaked on polished floors, lockers clanged, and voices overlapped in a chaotic symphony of laughter, gossip, and nervous chatter. Into this whirlwind stepped Ms. Aisha Carter, the new English teacher, her presence commanding attention from the moment she crossed the threshold. At 32, Aisha was a striking figure, tall, with deep brown skin that seemed to absorb the fluorescent light, her braided hair swept into a meticulous bun, and her navy blazer tailored to perfection. Her smile was warm but carried an edge of steel, her dark eyes sharp with purpose. She'd relocated from Chicago, where she'd taught in a gritty urban school, navigating gang disputes and underfunded classrooms with grit and grace. Jefferson High, with its manicured lawns and affluent student body, was a different beast. As the only black teacher in the building, Aisha felt the weight of curious stares from students and staff alike. Whispers trailed her like a faint echo, but she brushed them off. She'd faced worse, or so she thought. Asterisk in her third-period senior English class, a clique known as the Kings of Jefferson ruled the back row with an air of untouchable arrogance. Their leader, Jake Turner, was a broad-shouldered football star with a smug grin and a trust fund that insulated him from consequences. His cronies, Dylan, a wiry kid with a cruel glint in his eye, and Mason, a hulking linebacker who laughed. At Jake's every word followed his lead like loyal henchmen. They slouched in their desks, tossing paper wads and snickering as Aisha introduced herself on the first day. "I'm Miss Carter," she said, her voice steady and resonant, "and this year, we're diving into stories that'll challenge how you see the world. Literature isn't just words on a page, it's a mirror, a weapon, a lifeline." Jake leaned back, muttering something under his breath. Dylan stifled a laugh, and Mason's deep chuckle rumbled like distant thunder. Aisha's eyes flicked toward them, her instincts honed from years in tougher classrooms, but she let it slide. She wasn't here to pick fights on day one. She was here to teach, to inspire, to build something lasting. Asterisk, but the Kings had no interest in learning. By the second week, their disruptions escalated from subtle to brazen. Jake would accidentally knock books off desks, his apologies dripping with mockery. Dylan would fake cough slurs, just quiet enough to dodge direct punishment, his eyes daring Aisha to call him out. Mason, the muscle of the group, would smirk, his bulk a silent threat to anyone who might snitch. Behind Aisha's back, they called her Monkey, a vile nickname they'd coined in a late-night group chat, their phones lighting up with memes and cruel jokes. The word spread like a virus, infecting their clique and emboldening their cruelty. Other students overheard, but stayed silent, fearing the King's wrath. Mia, a shy freshman with glasses and a love for books, clutched her copy of Their Eyes Were Watching God tighter when she heard the slur whispered in the cafeteria. Jamal, a quiet junior on the track team, clenched his fists but kept his head down, knowing the Kings could ruin his season with a single rumor. The school's principal, Mr. Hargrove, a weary man with thinning hair and a countdown to retirement, turned a blind eye. "Boys will be boys," he'd mutter, waving off complaints from other teachers. Aisha sensed the hostility but couldn't pin it down. She poured her heart into her lessons, sparking debates that lit up the eyes of students like Mia and Jamal. But the King's shadow loomed larger each day, Isha wasn't just a teacher, though. Back in Chicago, she'd trained in mixed martial arts for nearly a decade, a secret she kept from her new colleagues. MMA was her sanctuary, her way to channel the rage of growing up in a world that often tried to shrink her. She'd competed in amateur bouts, her lightning-fast kicks and precise punches earning her a reputation in local gyms as the Tempest. Her coach, a grizzled ex-Marine named Marcus, had drilled into her the mantra, "Control your power, but never forget you have it." Now in Willow Creek, she trained alone at a small dojo after school, her fists slamming pads with a rhythm that drowned out the day's frustrations. She never planned to use her skills outside the ring, but the Kings were testing her resolve. One crisp October morning, during a class discussion on Zora Neale Hurston's novel, Jake tossed a crumpled note that landed on Aisha's desk. She unfolded it to find a crude drawing of a monkey in a teacher's outfit, complete with a speech bubble reading, "Teach me, monkey." Her stomach churned, a wave of nausea rising, but she kept her face neutral, slipping the note into her drawer. That night, she punched the heavy bag until her knuckles bled, the word monkey echoing in her mind. She vowed to handle this her way, but how? The tipping point came during the school's annual Fall Fest, a carnival-style event. On the football field that drew the whole town, Ashisha volunteered to run the dunk tank, hoping to bond with students and show her lighter side. She sat atop the platform in a t-shirt and shorts, laughing as kids like Mia and Jamal took playful shots, their softballs splashing harmlessly into the net. The crowd cheered, the air thick with the scent of popcorn and cotton candy. Then the Kings sauntered up, Jake twirling a softball with a predator's grin. "Let's see how the monkey swims," he muttered, loud enough for the crowd to hear, but not Aisha. Dylan cackled, and Mason handed over a $5 bill for 3 throws, his eyes gleaming with malice. Aisha's smile froze her instincts, picking up the shift in the crowd's energy, but she stayed composed, her gaze locking onto Jake's. His first throw missed, sailing wide, but the second hit the target square, plunging Isha into the icy water. The crowd gasped, then laughed nervously as she emerged, dripping but unruffled, her braids glistening under the stadium lights. "Good aim," she said coolly, climbing back up, her voice cutting through the tension. Jake's smirk faltered. He hadn't expected her to take it so well, to rob him of the reaction he craved. That night, emboldened by their stunt, the Kings crossed a line that would change everything. Under cover of darkness, they snuck into the school, armed with cans of red spray paint stolen from the art room. Giggling like hyenas, they defaced Aisha's classroom door with the word monkey in bold, jagged letters, adding a stick figure caricature for good measure. They fled into the night, high on adrenaline, certain they'd get away with it. The janitor, Mr. Ruiz, discovered the vandalism at dawn, his face crumpling as he scrubbed at the paint with shaking hands. By morning, the news spread like wildfire. Through Willow Creek, students whispered in the halls, some horrified, others giggling behind their hands. Mia, trembling with anger, slipped into Aisha's classroom before first period and told her everything she'd overheard, the Kings. Nickname, their group chat, their plan to put her in her place. Aisha's heart pounded, a mix of rage and heartbreak, but she thanked Mia calmly, her mind racing. She reported the vandalism to Hargrove, who promised a thorough investigation, but warned her not to make waves with the school board, many of whom were friends with the King's parents. Aisha nodded, her jaw tight, but inside, she was done playing nice. She knew the Kings wouldn't stop unless she stopped them. The next day, Aisha devised a plan, her Chicago instincts kicking in. She'd heard rumors of the Kings' secret hangout, a clearing in the woods behind the school where they partied, smoked, and plotted their pranks. After school, she followed them discreetly, her Mehmet training keeping her steps silent, her breath steady despite the fire in her chest. She hid behind a gnarled oak, watching as Jake, Dylan, and Mason passed a flask, their laughter grating against the quiet forest. "She'll quit soon," Jake sneered, tossing a stick into the fire they'd built. "Monkeys don't belong here." Dylan snorted, adding, "That door was classic." "Wish I'd seen her face." Mason chuckled, his voice low. "Next time we go bigger." Aisha's fists clenched, her nails biting into her palms, but she held back, pulling out her phone and hitting record. Their confession poured out, clear as day, each word a nail in their coffin. She slipped away undetected, her heart racing with a mix of triumph and dread. She had proof, but proof alone wasn't enough. She needed to send a message they'd never forget, one that would shake their world to its core. Asterisk, the opportunity came a week later, during the school's Fitness Challenge Day, a gym class event designed to promote teamwork and physical fitness. The gymnasium buzzed with excitement as students tackled obstacle courses, relay races, and sparring matches, the air thick with sweat and adrenaline. Aisha volunteered to oversee the sparring, knowing the kings would sign up to flex their egos. The rules were simple: padded gloves, headgear, and light contact only, with a referee, Coach Daniels, a burly ex-wrestler, ensuring safety. The kings strutted in, Jake cracking his knuckles, Dylan smirking, and Mason rolling his shoulders like a boxer. Aisha stepped forward, her voice casual but laced with challenge. "How about a teacher-student match? Show me what you've got." The gym went silent, students exchanging wide-eyed glances. Jake laughed, thinking it was a joke, but Aisha's eyes burned with an intensity that made his stomach twist. "Unless you're scared," she added, her lips curving into a faint smirk. The crowd oofed, and Jake's ego, fragile beneath his bravado, took the bait. "You're on, Miss Carter," he said, stepping into the ring. Asterisk, they faced off Jake. First, he swung wildly, expecting an easy win, his punches fueled by anger and entitlement. But Aisha moved like water, her mammoth footwork flawless, dodging each blow with cat-like grace. She tapped him lightly on the chest with a jab, a warning shot that stung his pride more than his body. "Focus," she said, her voice calm but mocking. Jake's face reddened, and he charged, a bull seeing red, only for Aisha to sidestep and land a controlled roundhouse kick to his padded thigh. The impact sent him stumbling, his knees buckling as the crowd erupted in gasps and cheers. Dylan went next, his cocky grin fading as Aisha parried his flailing punches and swept his legs with a low kick, sending him crashing to the mat. Mason, the biggest, roared and lunged, his massive frame a wall of muscle, but Aisha used his momentum against him, executing a judo throw that flipped him over her shoulder. He landed with a thud, the air rushing from his lungs. The gym exploded, students chanting, "Miss Carter, Miss Carter," as the kings lay sprawled, humiliated but unharmed. Their egos shattered into pieces. Asterisk, Aisha didn't stop there. That afternoon, she marched into Hargrove's office, her phone in hand and Mia at her side, the freshman's voice trembling but resolute as she corroborated the story. Hargrove's face paled as he listened to the king's recorded confession, their laughter echoing in the small office. "This is serious," he stammered, sweat beading on his forehead, but Aisha cut him off, her voice cold as steel. "It's beyond serious, it's hate. And if you don't act, I'll take this to the superintendent, the school board, and the press. Your choice." Hargrove caved, suspending the kings pending a full investigation. By week's end, the school board, pressured by Aisha's evidence and a viral video of her sparring takedown filmed by Jamal and shared across social media, expelled Jake, Dylan, and Mason. Their college offers evaporated, their reputations in Willow Creek reduced to ash. The town buzzed, some calling Aisha a hero, others whispering she'd gone too far, their voices tinged with unease at her unapologetic power. Aisha didn't care. She'd reclaimed her classroom, her dignity, her place. Asterisk, but the story didn't end there. A twist emerged months later, in the quiet of winter, when Aisha received an anonymous letter slipped under her classroom door. It was from Ellie Turner, Jake's younger sister, a sophomore who'd watched the drama unfold from the shadows. Ellie confessed she'd been part of the King's group chat, too scared to speak up, her loyalty to her brother warring with her shame. She'd reported Jake's vandalism plan to Mr. Ruiz, the janitor, hoping to stop it, but her warning came too late. Aisha's courage, Ellie wrote, had changed her. She wanted to make amends. Aisha invited Ellie to her classroom, seeing a flicker of potential in the girl's haunted eyes. Over weeks, she mentored Ellie, guiding her through writing exercises that unearthed her voice. Ellie's essays, raw and honest, began to win awards, and she founded a school diversity club, vowing to undo her brother's legacy. Meanwhile, Mia and Jamal, emboldened by Aisha's stand, stepped into their own power. Mia, once timid, joined the debate team, her arguments sharp and fearless. Jamal, inspired by Aisha's discipline, led the track team to a state championship, his speed a tribute to her belief in him. Aisha's classroom became a sanctuary, her lessons on literature, Hurston, Baldwin, Morrison a lifeline for students who'd once felt invisible. She organized a school-wide Speak Out event in the spring, where students shared stories of bullying, identity, and triumph, the auditorium packed with tearful parents and proud teachers. Even Hargrove, shamed into action, implemented new anti-bullying policies, though Aisha knew the real change came from her students, not the adults who'd failed them. Years later, Aisha stood at a podium in Washington, D.C., accepting a national teaching award, her name synonymous with resilience. In the audience, Mia, now a journalism major, clapped wildly, her camera flashing for her college paper's story on Aisha's impact. Jamal, a track coach mentoring inner-city kids, grinned from the front row, his life transformed by Aisha's example. Ellie, a budding investigative reporter, published a feature on Aisha in a major magazine, her words a love letter to the teacher who'd saved her from her family's shadow. The Kings? They faded, their names a cautionary tale whispered. Willow Creek's diners. Jake worked odd jobs, his charm gone. Dylan left town, chasing rumors of redemption. Mason, humbled, apologized years later, but Aisha had long since moved on. Aisha's legacy burned bright, a beacon for every kid who'd ever been called a name, every teacher who'd ever been told to stay quiet, every woman who'd ever been told she didn't belong. She returned to Jefferson High each fall, her classroom a forge where stories were crafted, where courage was kindled, where the future was written not in spray paint, but in the fire of those who dared to fight back. Wow! What a story! Aisha Carter is the hero we all need, taking down bullies with style and changing lives forever. If you love this epic tale, smash that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories. Drop a comment below and tell us what part of the country are you watching from. Are you repping the USA, the UK, or somewhere else? Let's see. Where are crews at? Stay awesome, and we'll catch you in the next one.